This video is sponsored by Skillshare. I have a confession to make.
I already know.
What? How do you know?
It's obvious. But the real question is, how long has this been going on?
At this point, about 6 months.
What about ProRes 422 HQ recording, Caleb?
It's overkill in this context.
4K 120 has always been there for you.
My love for 4K 120 is strong.
Caleb, what are all the big camera YouTubers gonna think of you in this disgrace?
I don't know. It's almost like this has been a great camera the whole time or something. I even use MP4 Light. Thanks to Lumix, I've been able to long-term test the S9 and consider this kind of like my 6-month review. So this is how I've been using the Lumix S9 the last 6 months and how it fits into my workflow. The S9 has basically become like a full-blown content camera and behind-the-scenes camera for my business especially. So you can go check out thevideolab.online on Instagram, and a lot of that content is actually going to that Instagram. And this is how this is how I've been using it. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
This is it right here. I'm gonna show it to you. Like that. The first way I've been using this is shooting in MP4 Light. And I know that like it's not the best like cinematic format to shoot in, but for quick, easy content, it's super fast to use.
Can you shoot it in whatever file is better for cinematic content?
You definitely, I mean, yes, you can, which I'll get into just a little bit.
Okay.
For the content, the quick content, MP4 Light has been amazing because what you can do is just take it right from the camera straight to your phone. And I'll get into another reason why this is like super fast for this type of content and like BTS stuff. But what I do is actually I shoot in that 4K, 3.9K MP4 Light, which is a super small file size. And so you can go straight from camera to your phone through the Lumix Lab app. But if you don't want to do that, what you can do is actually take it to your computer, and it's a very fast, easy way to edit on your computer quickly to get that content out.
Does that impact what it looks like on the phone?
No, it doesn't impact it at all. Because people are looking, they're on their phone watching it, right? So it's not like the quality is not going to necessarily matter when it's
that's
like
where I'm viewing
vertical
it,
like that
it's not going to
on your phone. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Now here's the thing that if you don't want to shoot vertically like this, I mean, you can set up the frame markers on the S9, right? Like, you know the frame markers on the S9 very well. You can actually shoot like this. That way you have the horizontal crop as well. And you just set those frame markers up so that you get those different cuts if you want them. However, for what I'm doing, I'm only using vertical for this. And so I just toss it this way. That way it's the vertical crop already, and I can just send it out to social.
Do you have all the open gate options?
I do have all the open gate options. And that 3.9K, that 4K MP4 Light is actually an open gate setting, but a 4K open gate rather than a 6K open gate.
Okay.
Another thing about the MP4 Light, which is, I don't normally shoot this way, but one of the things that I like about it for social content is that it's already in 30 frames per second.
Okay.
So 30p straight out of camera, and all those platforms like Instagram, TikTok, all that, they are, they prefer that 30p frame rate for some of that social content. So the fact that it's already 30p, and then if I want to take it into 24p, it just slows down the clip a little bit. So it kind of gives it like a little bit more of a smooth motion.
Sure.
Rather than, kind of the, jerky 30p.
Towards you here or like up?
Yeah, like I personally have been using it as a full-blown content camera. I think that is the intentionality behind this camera that maybe had a little bit of misunderstanding when it first came out, but this is for content creation. And one of the features that we have to talk about is the real-time LUT.
Sure.
And the real-time LUT, what I've found is like, I want to shoot in a way that basically for the studio, look around you, I want to have a look that I can just go to every single time. Sure. And that's what the real-time LUT allows me to do. I can just shoot in that real-time LUT, bake in the color to the image in that, MP4 Light 3.8K, and then I can directly send that out, and it's gonna look similar every single time. Now, maybe a little bit different depending on if I have the windows open, but what I found I actually really like, and you know, this is Matthew Dangu's LUT, the classic orange and teal legend. So shout out to Matthew. I've got a link down in the description. You can use it. It's an affiliate link. So if you purchase it, I do get a cut, but go check it out. It's fantastic, fantastic LUT. And I've actually really liked that LUT on this camera shooting for content in the studio. And I'm gonna put some sample shots up of kind of some of the stuff that we've been doing. My buddy Luke will come in and he'll shoot some behind the scenes. I'll put some shots up that he shot.
So normally you're making videos, you understand what color grading is gonna look like post.
Yeah.
But not everybody else understands that.
Yeah, yeah.
So how does having real-time LUT, if you are shooting with somebody else who's unfamiliar with that, maybe make them a little bit more confident on camera without seeing something that's totally washed out?
Yeah, so if you're shooting in, let's say, example, vlog, where it's a log profile, yes, you can put like monitoring LUTs on there. You are able to see what you get, and what you get is what you're able to put out right
I was
away.
just asking for a friend.
We've been talking about using the LUMIX S9 to make content for social, but I actually have to use that content to help grow my business. I'm a solo business owner and I do video production. I'm not necessarily a social media marketing expert. But you know what I found to be helpful? Skillshare. For me, I can find classes on developing a marketing strategy or learn more about how to run Meta or Google ads that generate more leads and potential video clients. Maybe you're at the same place or at a different stage in your creative journey, but I will say this, Skillshare definitely makes it easy to learn. I think one of the best parts is that the platform is designed by creatives for creatives. Maybe you want to develop better video editing skills. Well, there's beginner and there's advanced classes. Maybe you're a videographer who wants to learn photography and add that to your creative toolbox. You can learn at your own pace with on-demand classes and stackable lessons. Or maybe you're like me. You have some of those creative skills ready to unleash, but you need to market yourself better to get the clients you actually want to work with. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Hit that link, get started with Skillshare, and grow as a creative. Okay, another reason why I've been using the S9 so much for behind the scenes content is because you can actually attach it to like a magic arm like this, and it's a perfect behind the scenes camera because of the size of it. So look how small it is, right? Small. Yep. I actually have a pretty big lens on there. It would be even better with the 18 to 40 millimeter. Like that's just, I should go get that lens and put it on here. Okay, I got the 18 to 40 millimeter. See how small that is? How light, here, you feel it. Feel how light it is.
Okay. Yes, so light.
So then you can mount it to like your camera rig, and I'll put some shots up on the screen of how I've used it before.
Can we do that again?
No, that has to stay. You can mount it on a light stand, you know, do a time lapse of you setting up if you're on set doing anything like that.
And I think size does matter because we travel a lot and, you know, around the area, but also overseas. And I'm cheap. I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay for to check bags. And so I know we're going on a trip here soon, and I've been asking you a lot already. Like, what equipment are you bringing? And this really condenses the space needed for all your stuff.
Okay, so I need to tell you something.
Okay.
This camera is way more than just a content camera if you need it to be.
Oh, really?
Because not only do you have those light settings, right? But you have full-blown open gate 6K on this camera. You have all of the anamorphic shoot settings if you want to shoot anamorphic with this camera. We talked about it a little bit ago, but we have the full vlog color profile too. One of the coolest things about this camera is the hybrid zoom. So if you're on a a wide lens like this, and you zoom in with the hybrid zoom, you're actually gonna get more reach on your lens. But then, like all the great Lumix cameras, you have all of the pro tools for video shooting. So things like waveform is on here. Zebra stripes. You have the luminous spot meter on here.
So you talked about zoom earlier, content creation, you're walking around, moving around. What about all of the IBIS and autofocus features?
Oh, that is a great question, and I appreciate you bringing that up. That's one of the reasons as using it as a content camera, like if it's a shot where I like walk into the frame, it's gonna automatically pick me up. So it has the, you know, the hybrid phase detect autofocus. So then you asked about the IBIS, yeah, in-body image stabilization.
Yep.
You have the Boost IS, you have electronic stabilization in here, you have the regular IBIS that is fantastic. So a lot of handheld shooting, you're totally fine doing a lot of this type of stuff right here. Talked a lot about how really honestly great this camera is for content creation and, you know, behind the scenes travel. We addressed that, right?
Yep.
However, there are some things that this camera is lacking.
Sure.
You know, some things that I would love to see on this camera. Obviously, the big thing is the EVF. You know, just having like an EVF right here, if it's brayed out, that helps, right? Now, another thing I would love to see on a camera like this is just a headphone jack. I mean, you have the mic jack right here, right? And you have the HDMI, mini HDMI, or micro HDMI, one of those. And then a USB-C port. But there's no headphone jack. So, you know, if you are making your own content, you can't really monitor yourself when you're you know, shooting. And so you just kind of have to trust the process and hopefully things turn out. Now, one of the big things for me, especially where we live here in South Dakota, is like, you never know what you're going to get with the weather.
Yeah.
So having a weather sealed body would be huge on something like this. You know, earlier we had the 18-40. That's a weather sealed lens. So it makes sense for this camera to be a weather sealed system. But this camera is not a weather sealed system.
I do feel like it's a miss because so much content creation is outside for a lot of folks. And so having a weather sealed body would definitely increase the value on that, I feel like, for those folks.
Yeah, totally. So our oldest son suggested that we just cover it in Flex Seal. Another thing I would like to see with this camera is that, like I said, I love shooting the MP4 Light, but I would love to see maybe a 60p, 60 frames per second in the MP4 Light. That way you can that would just take some of that creation to the next level of like just incorporating a little bit more slow motion into your content. That might be a nice little touch for some people. So, you know, if they advance that MP4 Light format, I would love to see a 60p in that format for content creation. So again, I don't use this camera necessarily for any of my corporate work, professional shoots, right? But getting behind the scenes of those shoots, or you know, in studio here, me just doing my own thing, this camera really is perfect for that. Yes, it's lacking some things, but we can get over those. But for what I believe that this camera was intended for, I mean, it's a perfect content creation camera.
So if you have any questions about the S9, let us know down in the comments. Let's get a conversation started.
Hey Dad, can I use the S9?
Where'd you come from?
Yeah. Put it in front of your face.
That's good.
And see.